Hello again. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are, American Ultras React. I'm joined by the same lineup as the last video: Brennan, Shrey, Jeff, and the very committed Akil. The guy's soaked.
This man took a shower in the
Congrats.
rain, by the way.
Respect for the commitment. So, given that, go straight to you, Akil. Your immediate reaction to Gregg's reappointment. We really went through 6 months just to appoint the same guy again. What's your immediate reaction, and what do you see for the future of the USMNT?
All right, first of all, I'm sorry for not being here last two videos. First one I practiced. This one I just came back from the gym. I got drenched in the shower. I had to sprint all the way back home.
You have no
And yeah,
idea
that's the
how good we
story.
felt. You have no idea how good we felt with you not being here.
Hey, shut up, Jeff. All right.
We missed you though. We missed you.
First of all, okay, one word. It's horrible. They spent this much time to hire Gregg. Like, if you're gonna hire Gregg, just do it 6 months earlier, like right after World Cup. And I don't know what happened with the players, but all of them just backed him. They're probably paid by U.S. Soccer, a joke federation, by the way.
Yeah, it's awful.
This incompetent federation is the reason why we're not going to do anything in the next World Cup.
All right, I guess I'll go next. One word, vacation. It was a vacation for Gregg. He left 6 months. He said, you know what, someone can take over for now. Especially with with the situation with Reina's family. All right, I'm just gonna spend the rest of my months confident that I'll come back. All right, and then we had Hudson. He left before Nations League. Now we have BJ Boy, and then last night we were hit with the bombshell that Gregg is back, and I say it's a disgrace. He shouldn't have come back at all. He shouldn't have even been considered as an option, and especially with him, thinking that he was gonna go to Club America, that just had me so relieved that he was gonna go. But last minute they said no, we don't want you. Go back to the U.S. Maybe they're open.
Smart decision. Smart decision by them.
Yeah.
Isn't
not for us.
Club America? Screw Club
isn't
America.
BJ's
fan
name
now.
isn't BJ's name actually Brian? But he
Yeah,
goes
it's
by
Brian.
BJ.
Yeah. Where did
Yeah,
the
it's
J
Brian.
come from? Where did the
His,
J
I
come
think,
from?
I think his middle name.
Yeah, I think it's John.
Joseph.
but-
Probably
Joseph.
yeah, Joseph.
This
Hey,
man has
hey.
no idea how much he's gotten clowned ever since we knew about him.
He still won the battle of men. BJ versus Coca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much so that Coca might get sacked now, which is kind of crazy.
That's not happening.
Yeah,
That could
they
be
actually
pretty
just
funny.
That
pointed
was like
him.
his second game or something.
He was the
Third game.
inside man. He's the inside man for Argentina. That's why the inside man.
Bro, Mexico
I guess
just
I'll talk.
Mexico fans just have to accept that their whole squad is not good enough.
Yeah,
No manager can save this team.
yeah. It's on the players now.
It's on Liga and Mekis.
It's literally true.
They have to lower their prices,
They
or else
literally
their players are
have.
not going anywhere.
One of them has to take a stand and said, "You know what, coach is right. If we want to win, it's on us. Troy Bolton style."
Ted Lasso.
I'll go to Shrey. Shrey, what's your reaction to Gregg's reappointment, and how do you see the future?
Yeah, I think it's just a clown show by USSF. There's only one federation that's worse than USSF. It's the AIFF, All India Football Federation. It's the only federation that's worse than USSF. And yeah, I mean, I'm not happy about Gregg coming back at all. But I mean, like Akil said, I mean, if you're gonna bring Gregg back, just bring him back like 6 months ago. Like makes no sense. And yeah, why do we bring Gregg back?
I know.
Like I'll back Gregg, but like, why do we bring him back?
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
Why?
no sense.
Especially giving us all this hope, for the last couple months that we were gonna get a good manager. And
They're just waiting.
I feel like
They're
that
just waiting-
rumor. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Keep
They're just
going.
waiting for this Reina stuff to die down, and
Yeah. No, but like I was gonna say, I feel like they made up the rumors saying that they were interviewing managers from Spain, France, pretty sure Brazil was one of them, and even from the US. I feel like that was just made up, to give us some hope that they were gonna appoint someone good.
Yeah, and Brennan, what do you think? What's your take on this? And do you think there? I'm actually going to ask all of you guys after Brennan responds and gives this take. Do you think that Marsh would have been a better appointment? Because I think the only guy that truly was in contention, besides Gregg, was probably Marsh.
Yeah. So since you guys were saying your one word, I'm gonna go. My one word would be demoralizing because, like Akil said, I don't understand why we wouldn't just hire him immediately, giving all of the fans some hope that we were gonna move on from Gregg, which I think Gregg got a little too much hate for his initial stint. I think he did fine for the level that we were at, but I think it was very clear that it was time to move on and move past him as a team, as a federation. But to give us all the hope that we could go out there and get a world class manager, I saw some absurd names that were linked with the job, like Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, just kind of crazy.
And
And for
Zidane, don't
all of
forget.
that,
Zidane was
yeah, and
also in contention.
Zidane. For all of
I
that,
bet
just
that was
to
fake.
That was
oh,
fake?
definitely, yeah,
That has to be fake.
I thought you said it was.
yeah. For all of that, just to go back to where we started, is just ridiculous. And to announce it at kickoff of our game against Mexico is just the worst possible time to announce it. It's like they knew how the fans were going to react, and they were hoping that we were going to beat Mexico, and then maybe the fans would be happy after that. Which, to be fair, I think most of us were, considering how that game went. But to kind of try to sweep it under the rug like that is just shady, and it's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
just shameful.
I actually feel like they only did that just so we can ignore the hiring. It's like you said, they literally hit it right under the rug because they knew that if they announced it after the match, then the fans would just start complaining right away. And it still didn't work. People still knew even though the game was going on because the commentators they were gonna announce it either way.
Yeah, I think it's a decision that overclouds possibly one of the USMNT's best performances this century. I think it's obviously Mexico isn't anywhere near having a really good squad, but it was a very competent performance from us. And ultimately, imagine how happy we would be if the announcement was from someone else. We just got someone else after that game. It would be a really good momentum. And jumping onto that, I want to ask all of you guys. I'll start with the queue again. Who would you have ideally and realistically? I mean, ideally, I'll try to have Pep, but realistically, who do you think we could have
Yeah, Pep.
gotten? And who would you in a dream-like scenario would you like to see being posted today on Instagram after that win?
All right. Top three candidates: Herb Renard, Paulo Bento, and probably I don't know. That's my top two.
Verse said 3. He didn't even say the third one.
Bro, I can't think.
Just say Marsh because that's actually realistic.
Jesse.
Yeah, and everyone can give their opinion on this too. I think, like I said, I think Marsh perhaps was the only one that truly was considered to this position besides Gregg. Do you think that he would have been a better appointment?
Much better.
By
I think
far.
so.
By far.
He doesn't come with the trauma and baggage that Gregg has. So.
Yeah. But at least he has a system though, and
Yeah.
not just playing it on the wings and just crossing into the middle and hope someone would get into them.
Yeah, Gregg's system is so unorganized, man.
It is.
At least, bro, he's tactically inept. At least Marsh knows what he's doing to some extent, and he's been successful in some spurts in the Premier League with Leeds, saving them for relegation, and then having that good start to the season for the first 5 games until they lost to Brighton. The excuse for USSF was data driven, and they used games from like Grenada and I don't know, St. Kitts and Nevis, and they put that into points per game and made it 2.0 or 2.1 or something. And they basically said that he was the best USMNT manager in ever because of those statistics, and that's just really misleading because This is our golden generation, but we just played a bunch of bum teams, and then when it actually came to the World Cup against Netherlands, he fumbled really hard.
Yeah, that's another thing that was very pivotal in Greg's reappointation. The board, they just don't have any high expectations for us. They just give us very little to work with, and they don't think that they want more from us. Of course, result wise, but to really take this team to the next level, you got to hire someone better than Greg. And especially if we want to do good at the World Cup, I don't see this man really helping us. Especially against the Netherlands. Like Akil said, he fumbled it hard. I really think that we should have higher expectations for ourselves. Appoint someone better, and change up the system. Really play some football that other teams are gonna want to worry when they face off against us. Greg is not the man. If they see Greg, they're just gonna what is it called? Utilize. They're just gonna utilize his tactics and counter it, and it's gonna be a problem for us.
All right, going to Brennan and Shrey, what would be your guys' dream-like appointment, and what do you think about this?
Okay, so for me, in a idealistic but still like ambitious scenario, I would want Pellegrino Matarazzo from Hoffenheim because I
Great
think
job.
out of all the American coaches out there, him and Marsh are really the only two that I can trust somewhat that have experience at top level. And I think Matarazzo slightly edges him out. He showed it at Stuttgart. He was very good there, getting the Hoffenheim move. He's been pretty good there as well. And I just think he's the best option, and especially if we were determined to keep it as an American manager, which I think we were, seeing as we had obviously Greg and Jesse Marsh as the two main options. I think Matarazzo would have been perfect.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Hervé Renard. I mean, I think he definitely would have taken the job if possible. I mean, he's coaching France's women's team right now, which, I mean, no
Yeah.
disrespect to France's women's team, but I mean, the USMNT is obviously a more attractive team to coach for. So I would have liked to see Hervé Renard because, he's shown that, like, I think he had Zambia win the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, like he's good at using limited squads and having them achieve higher than like they actually are. So I would like to see Per Renard.
Yeah, he's also very demanding, and he's a disciplined manager as well. And if anyone thought there was going to be a language barrier, this man can speak really good English as well. And he's not afraid to criticize his players either. I think I remember it was against Argentina, like during the World Cup, where they were losing 1-0 at halftime. This man was screaming at his players, demanding them to really perform, and they did. They pulled up the shocker, beat Argentina.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Braden.
Yeah, so my concern with Hervé Renard, obviously, he has shown he's been a good manager, but like Shrey said, he's good in limited situations, and I'm just a little concerned that with the U.S. he would be out of his depth because he hasn't managed anyone who has the talent pool and the future that we have.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how well he'd do with little experience managing like big teams that actually should have some ambitions.
Yeah,
to be fair,
he's very limited.
Be fair, from what I've seen from Bernard, he knows how to manage a dressing room. You saw how Saudi Arabia beat Argentina after that halftime, and I feel like we really need that in our dressing room. Greg, he's not a leader at all. He throws his players under the bus. I can't count how many fights he's got into with the players, like Miazga, Reina, and many more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just feel like he'd be a big influence in that dressing room.
Yeah, and he isn't demanding with his players, like, especially with the clips with Behind the Crest as a good example. He just talks to his players. He doesn't actually, demand more from them. He just says keep it going. He doesn't raise his expectations at all. He's not as motivated of a manager compared to Hervé Renard or at all disciplined. He's just there to comfort the players, and that's not what we need. We need a coach that needs to be demanding and expects more from the players.
Jumping onto that, I agree with all of you guys. I think that Marsh definitely has a more credible resume than Gregg. And I was a critic of Marsh if he was appointed, but this is what we got to deal with now. But since Jeff mentioned demanding of the players, I want to go to everyone's reaction to the players, particularly publicly backing Gregg. And I see that most of them, we know the ones that aren't probably happy with this, but most of them seem very comfortable with Gregg being appointed again. And do you guys think that players should have a say on who the next manager is? Because on one side, you can tell that it's nice to have a guy that everyone feels comfortable around, but on the other hand, I mean, it's really convenient for you to choose who your boss is going to be. So, what do you guys think about this?
All right,
No, they should.
I'm just gonna straight up say it. No, they shouldn't. This is something that the board should deal with. Obviously, especially the sporting director. You know, it's something that also needs to be classified information. You can say, but the players they can say what they thought about a previous manager like Gregg, but they really shouldn't get into it that much.
For me, I agree. I don't think the players should have any say at all. Like Jeff said, I think it's fine if they voice their opinion publicly. I think it's important that they be honest with the fans, like about what they think. But I don't, yeah, like I think it was Yuri that said it's a little too convenient for them to be picking their own boss. And while it is nice that we could see some public support of the manager, that's always good to see. But my real concern is that it's not shared by the whole locker room. There's clearly a divide in there with the likes of Reyna, Pepe, probably Scally as well, and Zach Steffen, just to name a few, that have clearly fallen out of favor with Gregg, have some disagreements with him. And one thing that's really telling is in his press conference today, Gregg said that he hasn't talked to some of these players like Reyna, Pepe, Steffen since the World Cup, which is just outrageous. He hasn't even made an effort to
Yeah,
repair his relationship with them,
yeah, and
which
also
is ridiculous.
don't forget John Brooks is also one of those victims that have been falling out of favor from Gregg ever since 2021's World Cup qualifying, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't spoken to him at all either.
Yeah,
All
probably
right.
not.
Yeah, so I agree with all of you guys. I don't think players should be like deciding who the manager is. And also like I think if we got someone like Marsh or Renard, like I think the players would they would like them. And I think the question of we should keep Gregg because he has a great relationship with the players. I mean, I think Renard and Marsh would be fine with the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
I I just feel like they wouldn't accept mediocrity like Gregg would. If he keeps calling up MLS lifers, we're just screwed.
Yeah, that's gonna hold us back.
Yeah, and if he doesn't at least make an attempt to repair his relationship with Pepe and Reyna, our cycle is going to be screwed up.
Yeah, it's gotten bad to the point that Pepe is not even talking about Gregg. Like literally after the match yesterday in the interview, when he was asked, he just kept talking about the result, dodging the question, and yeah, he didn't even seem
Yeah,
phased with at all answering what he
yeah,
thought about
and
Gregg's
Yeah.
hiring.
when Gregg snubbed him from the World Cup, he just hung up.
Yeah, he even said
Yeah.
it himself. He hung up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Akil mentioned the next cycle, and I'm gonna ask all of you guys. It can be quick if you would like. I'm just gonna say my take right after. What would you rate Gregg's first stint as a manager? If you could call it a first and second, I mean
Mhm.
he didn't have any predecessors like except for the
Uh,
interim. The first stint, and what do you think is gonna be the grade for his new stint as a manager and how we're gonna do in the World Cup? I'm just gonna say first stint. I'll give him a 3 out of 10. And I hope that he sees at least the outcry that we're having for and how much we were enjoying this fast, fluid type of soccer that we were playing, even under Hudson. I think a lot of credit to Hudson for his time there.
yeah.
I hope that Greg gets it up to at least a 7. So that would mean probably good runs in the Copa America and World Cup. But what do you guys think? What would you grade the first stint, and how do you reveal the second one to be?
I was gonna rate him
All right.
high. I was gonna rate him high, but when I heard you said a 3, I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't rate him so high. Uh, I would say a 5. No, actually a 4. because well, he did win us
5
two
is fair.
trophies. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with 4 though. You know, he won us 2 trophies against our bitter rivals, Mexico. That's pretty good. You know, of a stint. But you know, the away record and you know, Concacaf, especially for you know World Cup qualifying, it isn't. That's not a good look. You know, especially since you know we have to do a bit better away. You know, we can always be winning at home, and then you got the World Cup. We did pretty good in the group stage. We didn't concede. We didn't lose. But the Netherlands game, it's not looking good, Briff. It's not.
All right, I'll actually give Craig a 5. I think like I would like rate his performance as a 6, but with all the drama that Craig brought, I'm bumping it down to a 5. I mean, he won us 2 trophies against Mexico. I mean, yeah, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. And
Yeah.
hopefully this next cycle, I have no idea what to expect, but hopefully it goes
Yeah.
well. That's
Yeah,
all I have to say.
yeah. That's why I didn't, you know, bother rating his second stint yet because we have no idea. It can go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Akil?
I'm just gonna say 2.5 because
Sure.
World Cup qualifying, he humiliated us. We should have done much better than we should have. We
True.
let Canada top the group and Mexico get in ahead over us. Like we were getting terrible results away from home, especially against El Salvador, Panama, and we should have beat Mexico, and then we lost to Canada.
Yeah.
And then in the World Cup, that was one of the worst groups in the tournament. And yet Greg, he still made it hard. We scored 3 goals all tournament. And yeah,
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest. I think you guys are being way too harsh here. I'm gonna give him a 6, and I know this might not be a popular take, but I think I said this a little earlier as well. I think for the situation that we were in for the majority of his stint, I think he did a fine job. Obviously, beating Mexico in the Gold Cup and the Nations League is a huge result. Like I don't think you can fault him there. And one aspect that none of you guys touched on was his recruiting, which I thought was really good. Getting the dual nationals like Musa, paving the way for Balogun, and several others as well. I think he was a really good recruiter in general, which I don't think he's gotten enough props for.
Yeah.
that's
I
not
should
really him though.
Yeah, I
That's
should
the
have said that.
fans. The fans recruited him,
Yeah,
not
come on,
not
give
Greg.
us some credit, bro. Give us
Yeah,
some
but
credit.
at the end of the day, he still has a pretty big influence because no one's going to come here if they don't want to at least play for him a little bit. So he
Yeah,
does have
true.
It's
a pretty
Yeah.
big influence in that.
I mean,
I
he
can see
did.
why all of them chose the U.S. It's
Yeah.
not because of Greg. They knew they'd see the opportunity they had with this team. I don't think it's anything to do with Greg. Balogun was all the fans,
Yeah, he literally
and
said it.
yeah, the only thing
No,
I could give Greg credit for dual nuts is probably Musa because England did try to captain him.
yeah, they really did make a push. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't even say Pepe either because Pepe, like he even said himself, he didn't get a call from Mexico, and you know he looked to us and he knew that he was gonna play for us majority of the time.
I think
yeah,
the
and
main one
then
was Dest. Like getting Dest kind of paved the way for getting these other dual nets.
That's actually true as well because Koeman he really rates Dest and he's the one that actually brought him to Barca. So yeah, we can actually give Greg props for that.
Yeah, I admittedly am, and I know I'm aware that I'm overly critical of Greg. The reason why I give him a 3 is just because of the drama, the baggage that he brings. I think Brooks, for example, it's a guy that's never going to be a back national team, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Even though he may have a redemption arc, and who knows? I mean, we saw Team Ream perform, and look at his age. Brooks is going to be at a similar age in 26. He is a very experienced player. He's back home form, and I think Greg has a lot of baggage with him. I am very curious to see how he handles the Gio situation. If he's going to be more flexible with his tactics, I think ultimately he did fine, but we really should aim for more. Really, really should aim for more for this cycle.
yeah.
Agreed.
I give him a 4 because well yeah the drama. You know he's a very you know troubling manager to work with. You know you might not see eye to eye with him, but you know it's still I feel like he also does have an ego as well, like when it comes to like how exactly he wants to have things lined up, and that's just gonna not be good for certain players that are crucial to this team.
All right, is that everything, guys?
And the World Cup roster that
Yeah.
he brought like 11 or 12 MLS players.
That was
we had
awful.
we had so much opportunity to bring players from abroad. Like we brought Roldan over Tillman.
Yeah,
Um,
Haji Wright. I mean, no,
Acosta.
Actually Jesus Ferreira over Pepe.
Yeah,
That's one that
that
shouldn't
was
have
the
happened.
worst.
That was
Should've been
definitely the
arrested
worst
for
to me
that.
also.
Yeah,
And then
Should've
Aaron
been
Long.
arrested.
He's not even playing.
Yeah.
Luca De La Torre.
Yeah.
He didn't even play.
nope.
Yeah.
But hey, at least
We
the
played
players.
Acosta instead.
Yeah,
But to be
exactly.
fair, Acosta did save us the Wales game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
he
think you
did.
can fault Acosta.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
didn't mind Acosta at all in the
But
World Cup, to be
He
honest.
didn't
Yeah.
provide much at all. I just feel like LDLT would have provided much more in that midfield
Oh yeah,
because we didn't even rest Adams, McKennie, or Musa. That's one reason why they got burned against the Netherlands.
yeah,
That's true. That's
They
very
just
true.
weren't running.
yeah. And the other thing is he benched CCV after a solid performance against Iran. Like we literally didn't concede, and he played really well. Starting over Zimmerman in that match, he really should have started against the Netherlands. He would have made a difference.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that just about wraps it up, guys. For the discussion of Greg's rehiring, we hope you enjoy.
Stay tuned.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Make
Like
sure
and
to subscribe
subscribe.
and like.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yep.
Peace.